Welcome to the MYBcast, a podcast devoted to exploring alternatives for self-care through somatic touch therapies of all sorts. We are fascinated with the mind-body connection, and so are the people we talk with. Today, we are continuing our series, Seeds. Seeds is a podcast about a set of somatic touch principles that we call somatic mindfulness. When we integrate these principles in our work, what are we experiencing? What happens for different therapists who embody these principles? What changes in their practices and in their lives? In Seeds, we talk with members of our growing somatic mindfulness community. How are they adapting attuned touch to their work, and how are their clients responding? Seeds is for anyone interested in somatic mindfulness and what it can do for them. What's so beautiful about somatic mindfulness is that it recognizes the student in all of us, exploring, studying, and developing this work that we love. The journey is a rich one that allows us to develop ourselves by simply being with our clients.
I'm Richard Mack, and I'm here with my co-host, Madelana Ferrara. We're both masters of somatic movement therapy and education, as well as teachers of somatic mindfulness. We're co-founders of MYB, a successful somatic therapy clinic in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. Today, we're excited to talk with our guest, April McBride, again, and learn about what somatic mindfulness means to her and how it's impacted her work and her life.
Welcome back to the show, April.
Hi.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's so good to see you guys again.
It is great to be with you. And today we would like to get a little bit more into what happens for the clients. How do the clients respond to the work? And it sounds like your clients have been very open and receptive to you introducing this presumably somewhat new thing to the practices that you do with them. We've found, as we've talked with different therapists, that it's not always that way, that for some of the clients, it's a difficult thing, but it's really awesome that your experience has been clients are saying, I welcome this. So what are they telling you? What are they telling you?
Absolutely. Yes. So with some of the clients, I'm just integrating in it without saying anything to them because they've been such long-time clients. They've been with me for a couple of decades. So we already have that ability to just flow with it. And those are the ones that are so amazing because when we come out of that session, they have known and grown with my touch and my work for so long to now add this little bit of something different and something new into their sessions. They're like, this feels so amazing because even though I've always felt wonderful leaving a session with you, this includes a lightness. So it almost feels like you have just rocked and just gently guided all of the excess tension that might have still been settling on the outsides, just kind of shake it out. And they feel so much lighter when we have done our session.
Are they reporting changes in their lives?
Yes, I have had several people, especially the ones that I do the somatic mindfulness work alone. So it's a fully clothed session that we do together. Those are the ones that have come back and said amazing and wonderful things after their session. My first session is always between 80 and 90 minutes so that we can get to know each other and we can get to know each other's energy and each other's body. And those people, I've had people come back to me and message me and say, I am so grateful that I came and did this. It allowed me to open up enough that now I am realizing a dream that I've had for so long. that I'm actually able to visualize it and bring it to life.
Wow, that's special. April, I noticed that beautiful green heart that's hanging around your neck. That's so beautiful. You project love. You definitely have that sense of a loving person, and I can tell that you've got into this work because you are a loving person and you want to help people. This work is helping you get closer to yourself, I would imagine, and the connection with your clients. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that for you and how that's transitioning for you.
Yes. As a massage therapist, when I got into massage therapy, I got into it because my dad had been in a terrible car accident that massage therapy was the only thing at that time that helped him. And so I wanted to be able to help people in that way. And I think that that's the case for the majority of body workers. They want to do this work because they want to serve other people in a way that is mindful and serve other people in a way that can change their lives, and in the same connection of changing their lives, you're changing your own life as a therapist as well, because every interaction with the client is also bringing you new information for yourself.
Yes, yes, yes. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. One thing I'd like to explore a little bit is how do you actually approach a session? I know in class, Fernando loves to talk about, and I incorporate it as well, and I'm sure Madelana does too. When you approach a client, there's a sense of curiosity. Then there's a sense of intuition, tapping into your own intuition. And then, of course, it's a matter of opening up your heart and letting the love flow. How does that unravel for you when you're in a session?
I initially start out a session with having them talk a little bit about what they wanted to do this session for. And that automatically sets the stage for us to give them the most optimal healing opportunity. And so I always start with having them mindfully scan their body, and I'll talk them through it. We'll start at the top of our head at our crown, and I will walk them through each part and tell them, let me know whenever you feel something different. So if you have gotten down to your right arm and you feel something different, say my right arm, and that automatically sets it for them to be embodying and mindfully paying attention to themselves, so that it lets that guard down a little bit more and that we can connect a little bit better.
I
Beautiful.
like that. That's a really um, lovely way to help a client get into their body and be present to what they're feeling in their body. And people are receptive to that approach. Yeah.
People are, it's so interesting how very few people pay attention to themselves. And so when you actually take a moment and say, we are here specifically so you can take note of how you are feeling, because we live our lives in such a manner that we're going out and we're doing all of the things that we have to do, but putting ourselves last. And so we don't realize how many things are kind of congested in there. It's like, oh gosh, I didn't realize that my jaw was clenching. I didn't realize that my right hip was, always tight. And so this allows them, even though they feel a little apprehensive at first, once we start doing this scan, they automatically are just in awe of how connected they can actually be with themselves. And so it sets it perfectly for them to be able to also now we've got this whole session ahead of us, and you can be mindful about all of the areas in your body. And especially if I'm bringing attention, if I'm working and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this in this right neck, you now have the tools to say, oh, I can focus on that, and I can aid myself in letting it go. And that's what's so beautiful about this somatic mindfulness work, is that I am facilitating it for you, but you are absolutely doing the work yourself.
Yeah, I was going to actually bring up the idea that, one of the things from the beginning that we talked about in launching what became somatic mindfulness was this idea that it doesn't have to hurt the therapist to help the client. The therapist doesn't have to even injure themselves sometimes in order to provide what's needed for a client to receive healing care.
Absolutely. I have one client that I've been seeing for 12 years. She's always asked for a heavier hand or a deep tissue. And when I came back, she is also open and willing to go with the flow, which is absolutely wonderful. And when I came back from my class, I said, I would love to try this on you, because she had had a traumatic event in her family within the last year. And when we did the somatic mindfulness session, she was like, I am just blown away to now realize that I don't need the elbow in my back. I don't need that to find release. She said, I can't believe how much release I feel from the somatic mindfulness. And for me, I, I don't hurt. I don't have any, shoulders to the ears. I don't have my back hurting from doing these sessions. So it's so much more beneficial for me as well as them.
So that must have changed your relationship with your work in some way.
Yes, because I will speak to people about, you know, the reasoning behind feeling like you need that deep work is because you're holding on to something.
Hmm.
It's not that necessarily you need that elbow. You're holding on to something. And this gentle work releases it without discomfort. It releases it without feeling like you're going to be sore for 2 days. It's just lovely.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, our clients are our teachers. Every teacher that steps into our room, on our table, we're going to be engaging with something I'm sure that we've never, either the client or you, have experienced before. Is there anything that you'd like to share? Maybe just something that comes to mind. I'm going to give you a minute to think about that, and I'll tell you why I'm asking that question. We're involved with an organization called the Foundation for SomaticTouch.org. It's a foundation, it's a 501(c)(3) that supports education and research around this work. And as we move forward, we have to be able to share with people what our clients are experiencing. So as you think about this and maybe want to share something, no names, we don't want to identify anybody, but we want people to get a sense of what people came to you suffering with or dealing with, and over a period of time or whatever, that this is what I did and this is what we experienced. Is there anything you'd like to share like that?
While I was in my first class with the somatic mindfulness, one of my regular clients had been in a car accident and she hurt her ribs. And she had texted me and she says, I'm so sorry. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to my appointment this week. And I said, I think I have a perfect alternative for you. And so she said, well, I'm game. What would you like to do? And I said, I'm currently in this somatic mindfulness class and it's so gentle. I really think it could benefit you while you're recovering. And she said, okay, let's do it. And so we did we did a very shortened session with her since she had been in the accident. Um, but during the session, the gentle movements that we do with this, I could still do that with her. So it's a beautiful option for people that might have clients that say, oh gosh, I can't come in. I've had this happen. This is a perfect alternative. She came back to me 2 days later and was like, I'm actually breathing in a way that it's not painful anymore after
Beautiful,
having this done.
beautiful, beautiful.
Wow.
Wow, that's great.
That's a
Well,
rewarding interaction with a client.
It is very rewarding. Absolutely. I actually would love to share with you guys. One of my other clients is an 86-year-old and very open to just anything that I want to try. And I actually did a video compilating. He said, I would love for you to video our session. And so I did video our session and did just like a short compilation of what we did. And he was telling me after receiving his first one, he said it's so similar into feeling like I've had my mindful, loving touch, but it's also so different because I'm feeling all of these other different things that I don't normally feel. And I really attribute that to adding in the breath work that you guys suggest using with the mindfulness and the somatic work. So we did some breath work with him, and we did some, he particularly loved the light shaking of the leg, because he has trouble with his feet. And he said, it's amazing that what you're doing almost feels like it's bringing my feet alive.
Hmm.
So it's very rewarding to
Hmm.
be able to hear such wonderful stories from these clients, because it also brings something back to me, as in like, okay, now I feel so free from offering such a beautiful session for this person.
Ah. So the session is also for you.
It is also for me. And you don't even realize it until it's done. And then you're like, gosh, like I feel so good after this session too. So it's a perfect integrative work.
and when that energy flows through you, it's like the fountain of youth. I mean, somebody 80 plus years old and just feeling that and new sensations. At that age, we're usually giving up things, but to have things come back into our lives, it doesn't have to be the end. It can continue to go on if you want it to. That's wonderful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he has come back for several of the somatic mindfulness sessions.
That's really beautiful. That's beautiful.
I find it really inspiring that it sounds like you have really a collection of clients that trust you and that are open to the journey that you're going on. And I think that's pretty remarkable. And that says a lot about you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I do. Yeah, my clients are so receptive to, and a lot of them will say, as soon as I walk through your door, it just feels like a big warm hug. So that already sets such a beautiful and lovely space for them to feel comfortable and feel like I can trust this person and we're going to create something beautiful here.
That is beautiful. And April McBride, you are beautiful. You are love. You're a gift for your clients and those that are about to become your clients. So for anyone who's looking to reach out to April, you can go to the somaticmindfulness.co website and under Find a Practitioner, April's name will be there. And please reach out to her and share your thoughts about what she's doing. And thank you for joining us, April. Really, really
Thank you
love you.
so much. It was a pleasure, guys.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of Seeds. We hope the stories inspired you. This series has been made possible by our hosts, Richard Mack and Madelana Ferrara, our production team, Mitch, Lieber, Fernando, Rojas, and me, Madelana, and our guests, whose willingness to share their personal stories is courageous and vital to educating the public and creating change. You are all leaders with heart. Thanks to our sponsors, Mind Your Body and Somatic Mindfulness. Find them both on the web at myb.llc and somaticmindfulness.co. Find all of our guests on the Somatic Mindfulness website. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and join us again for more interesting, compelling, and heartfelt stories.